Welcome to this week's Ancient History News. My lead story is about some very ancient rock art. The Indonesian island of Sulawesi is full of richly decorated cave paintings dating back tens of thousands of years. Previous studies have found them to be some of the earliest figurative and narrative paintings in the world. Now, a new analysis of the cave art in Maros-Pangkep using laser-ablation U-series imaging has redated these paintings to several thousand years earlier than previously thought. In this video, I discuss this research as well as the discovery of a 3,500-year-old shopping list in Turkey, the recent decipherment of some cuneiform tablets with ominous omens, and how a 12,000-year-old burial may be that of a female shaman. Cave painting of a hunt redated using laser ablation. Up until this latest study, the earliest known piece of figurative art was a naturalistic painting of a warty pig found in Maros-Pangkep on the island of Sulawesi. This painting is at Liang Tidongeng and may also represent a narrative scene, although this is debatable. In order for it to be dated, the calcium carbonate deposits that formed over it were tested using solution-based U-series methods. These methods require the micro-excavation of spits of calcite accretions, which are then prepared for analysis in chemical solutions. A minimum date of 45,500 years ago was produced. However, these methods are not ideal when the calcium carbonate layers are thin or have complex growth histories. The new study published in the journal Nature used a method called the laser-ablation U-series approach instead. With this method, the calcite accretion remains in situ and no chemical preparation is required. Overall, this approach is faster, cheaper, less destructive, and more accurate. Unfortunately, the scene at Liang Tidongeng could not be redated since there was no calcite remaining. The research team were, however, able to redate several other important sites at Maros-Pangkep. The researchers used the laser ablation technique to redate the oldest known pictorial narrative at Liang Bulu Sipong 4. It had been originally dated to 43,900 years ago. The rock art consists of a 4.5 meter wide panel on the rear wall of a cave depicting human-like figures interacting with warty pigs and dwarf bovids. Some of the human-like figures also have animal attributes, so are classed as therianthropes. They carry spears and/or ropes. Experts have interpreted this panel as a hunting scene with mythological elements, the latter because of the human-like figures with animal attributes. This different method yielded a minimum date of 48,000 years ago, 4,040 years earlier than the previous tests. Another rock art scene in the limestone cave of Liang Karampuang was also redated using laser ablation. This scene consists of a naturalistic red painting of a pig measuring 92 by 38 centimeters. The pig is in side profile and static with its mouth open. 3 red-painted human-like figures are close to the pig but smaller in size. They appear to be interacting with it. One of these humans has both arms extended, has no legs, and is holding a rod with something sticking out of each end. The second human is next to the pig's snout, has both arms extended, and is carrying a stick-like object. It appears as though the stick is touching the pig's throat. The third human is upside down, its arms are extended, and it seems to be touching the pig's head with one hand. Traces of pigment show that another human figure was probably there originally as well. The pig overlays a hand stencil created using a darker pigment, so this must have been painted earlier. 2 other hand stencils are contemporary with the scene. Experts aren't sure what this scene represents. The scene at Liang Bulu Sipong 4 rather clearly depicts hunting activities, but this painting is less clear in that regard. A date of 51,200 years ago was produced by the laser ablation testing. This latest study shows that both narrative and naturalistic artistic expression go back tens of thousands of years. The earliest examples of non-figurative art have been found in Middle Stone Age southern Africa and date between 75,000 and 100,000 years ago. These consist of geometric motifs etched onto ochre nodules. It's possible that figurative art then emerged from this cultural tradition or separately outside of Africa after the dispersal of Homo sapiens. It was long thought that anthropomorphic representations and narrative compositions both only became common towards the end of the Late Pleistocene, so around 20,000 years ago. This was based on the study of cave art in Upper Paleolithic Europe. These new dates show that in Suwalesi at least, these types of art were relatively common at an earlier date. In Europe, from what I understand, the oldest hunting scene is from the Lascaux cave in France and dates to between 21,000 and 14,000 years ago. This is also the earliest known image of a therianthrope. The scene shows a human with a bird head being charged at by a bison that it has wounded with a spear. One of the oldest pieces of figurative art in Europe is the Löwenmensch, or Lion Man, an ivory statue of a man with a lion's head that was found in the Höhlensteinstadel cave in Germany in 1969. It's been dated to between 40,000 and 35,000 years ago. 3,500-year-old furniture shopping list discovered in Turkey. In the 2nd millennium BCE, the town of Alalak, near Antakya in southern Turkey, was the capital of the kingdom of Mukish. Its population were Amorites, a Semitic-speaking group from western Mesopotamia. Now known as the Tel Atchana archaeological site, restoration work was being carried out after an earthquake when a small tablet measuring 4 by 1.6 centimeters was found. Written in Akkadian cuneiform, decipherment revealed that it was a shopping list detailing a large amount of furniture to be purchased, including wooden tables, chairs, and stools. Little more is known about the tablet, such as who wrote it or who the transaction was with. However, further research will hopefully shed light on the socio-economic conditions there during the Late Bronze Age. The kingdom of Mukish became a vassal of the kingdom of Mitanni before becoming incorporated into the Hittite Empire. Cuneiform tablets detailing omens related to a lunar eclipse have been deciphered. Over a century ago, 4 clay tablets were discovered in Iraq, which now sit in the British Museum. However, they had yet to be deciphered. Dating back 4,000 years and probably originating in the ancient city of Sippar, they have now been translated and published. Describing lunar eclipses as bad omens, researchers think that these are the oldest examples of these sorts of predictions found so far. The authors of the tablets wrote about different types of eclipses and what these meant. For example, one omen says that if, and I quote, an eclipse becomes obscured from its center all at once and clear all at once, a king will die, destruction of Elam. Another says an eclipse in the evening watch, it signifies pestilence. In the Babylonian Empire, people believed that future events could be predicted and potentially avoided by observing the signs left by the gods in the celestial sphere. The king's advisors would look to the night sky for specific phenomena and then match this to documents, such as these clay tablets, to see what omens could be foretold. Further oracular work would then be done by inspecting the entrails of animals. If everything pointed towards bad things happening, then rituals would be carried out to try to change the outcome. Woman who died 12,000 years ago in Turkey may have been a shaman. A new paper published in the journal L'Anthropologie details the study of a woman found buried at the pre-pottery Neolithic site of Kemperhöyük in Turkey. In 2019, the burial of a woman who died around 12,000 years ago between the ages of 25 and 30 was discovered there. She had been buried underneath the floor of a domestic building made of mud. Such a location was common for burials at the time, but what was unusual about this particular grave was that a variety of animals were placed alongside her. During the pre-pottery Neolithic, people in this region were predominantly sustaining themselves via hunting and gathering, but some small settlements had begun to emerge as well. However, this was before the domestication of animals had begun. The animal bones had been placed carefully in relation to the body, with the skull of an urux at her head, but with its jaw at her feet. Other bones, such as a partridge's wings and sheep bones, were scattered throughout the grave. In the paper, the researchers suggest that the woman may have had a shamanic role in society, and it was this close connection with animal spirits that led to her burial being configured the way that it was. That's it. Thank you to my patrons and channel members. If any of the rest of you want to join my Patreon or channel communities, the details are in the description below. Don't forget to hit the like button if you didn't already, and I'll see you next time.